Sorry. But as we've shifted through the year, that's it. Yes, that's it. Thank you. And it should have exactly this on it. It should say the objective. And the reason I do this is so our students always know exactly where we are. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you, let's say, a minute to get it out. And then I'm going to have you do what our students do. So I'm going to take you through the process that I do in the classroom. And once I see everybody has it out, we'll go through a lesson, and we'll just do the first part. We'll just do the first part of the lesson. But I want you to experience what your students are experiencing. And so we'll start that. I'm going to give you one more minute, and then let's get together and see where we stand. Looks like almost everybody has it. And I think you all received a shiny pen that has a highlighter on it. Okay, which is perfect for this exercise because that's exactly what our students are going to do. I see pens out. Okay. So whenever we go about reading an informational text, we have to ask ourselves two questions. And my students know they can always find the two questions right here. They always know they can find the answer to the question I'm about to ask you on the front page. So my first question is, what are the two questions we have to ask ourselves when we read informational text? Everybody, what are the two questions we have to ask ourselves when we read an informational text? The first one, and then the second one, what is the author's point of view? Excellent. And you can see I already wrote these at the top of my page. I want you to write those two questions at the top of the article. And we're going to read the article, Teenagers and New Technology. So I want you to write those two questions at the top, because while you're reading, I want you to underline details that either answer the question, what is the article mostly trying to teach us, or what is the author's point of view? We're not going to read the whole article today, so you probably aren't going to get to an author's point of view detail. But you will get to what is the article mostly trying to teach us. So what I want to do right now, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. And what I want you to do is I want you to try, or maybe get through, the first section. And the first section of the text is the author's opening section. It's the one that says teenagers' use of electronic devices. And what I want you to do is I want you to take 5 minutes, and you can talk to a partner. And while you're doing it, I want you to underline details. And then what I do is I always underline the detail. And then I draw an arrow and a point to what is the article mostly trying to teach us. So that way you have shorthand that it either goes with what is the article trying to teach us, or what is the author's point of view. At the end of the section, I want you to pause before you read to facts and figures, and I want you to write a quick jot. And the quick jot either answers the article is trying to teach us something, or the author's point of view is, and you're going to turn the question around. So the article is trying to teach us. And you're going to fill that in. And if you can answer the question, the author's point of view, you're going to turn that question around. The author's point of view is. Now, sometimes, what do we know when we're thinking about an author's point of view? Sometimes we have to infer what an author's point of view is. So you might underline a detail that goes with what is the article mostly trying to teach us, but it might be because they're giving you all the same kind of information, it might let you infer what the author's point of view is. So if you can figure out what the author's point of view is from the details, again, you'll underline those details and point to what is the author's point of view. And then when you're all done with the section, try to answer these two questions. What is the article trying to teach us? What is the author's point of view? I'm going to give you 5 minutes. I would tell my students, if you finish this section and you answer those 2 questions, you have the right to go on. So you can move at the pace that works for you. At the end of 5 minutes, we're going to review. I want you to definitely take advantage of the people sitting next to you. I definitely want you to talk to your partners. And then we'll come back and we'll share out what you guys learned. So you have 5 minutes, starting now. Go. What's that? Good job. No problem. Like I said, I tell my students, take notes. Good article. So 10. All right, I see lots of arrows pointing to the questions. I see some people have already moved ahead. That's fantastic. You're always allowed to work ahead in my class, as long as you come back and join the discussion when we review what we learned. So work ahead if you want to, but be prepared to come back and participate when we go through it. We have about a minute left. There's about a minute left. It's amazing how much longer 5 minutes really feels like when you're in the middle, right? Yeah, a lot of people have worked ahead, so it might help us answer some of these questions. One of the 2 questions that we learned.
When I get to this side, I'll pass out the. Okay. Once I get here, so I can.
All right, you got about 15 seconds left. All right, and I would be asking our students to slant right now, which is sit up, listen actively, ask and answer questions, nod and track the speaker. So we're gonna slant in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, as we're gonna go through this article, I wanna remind you of our habits of discussion. So I'm gonna call on people to talk about what they think. So the first person might say, I think the article is trying to teach us, give their answer. And you always have to give a detail from the text. that backs up what you said. I'm gonna call on the next person and you have a couple choices for how you're going to answer. I agree with what the person before me said because I agree and would like to add. I hear what you're saying, but I disagree. And we're allowed to disagree, but we have to do it in a way that makes sense and that we're talking academic. And so whatever you're saying, you always want to have the discussion based on the text. So your evidence is the key here. So can I have a volunteer start by telling us, what is the article mostly trying to teach us? Go ahead.
It's mostly teaching us how our teenagers now rely on cell phones, video games, other technology, and it's become most important in their lives than anything else.
Good. And can you give me one example of that from the text?
Yes. I highlighted when I think third paragraph, it says, I'd rather give up a kidney than my phone.
So when I did this lesson in my class, that was one of the most highlighted quotes. And then I asked, so how many of you would give up a kidney instead of your phone? And I got a sea of hands. And then I asked, what does it mean if you lose a kidney?
Right.
And they said, would anybody like to add? Would anybody like to either respond or add? Go ahead.
I agree because my son is interested in video games.
Okay.
He actually prefers to stay.
Okay, and is there evidence from the text that goes with your experience?
Yeah, it says 6 or 7 hours are spent a day playing video games.
Yes.
And that's a lot of time, considering that they get.
Exactly. So I would come back in and underline that too. Does anybody want to take a guess as to what the author's point of view is based on what he's read? What is the author's point of view? Go ahead. Yeah, the author's point of view, and again, we always turn the question around because whenever we're asked a question in an academic standing, we always want to turn the question around. The author's point of view is that technology use is excessive. And I think you could probably find lots of evidence from that to go. And it has a negative impact. Okay, so I'm going to step out of the teaching mode. What did you notice about how that just went? Go ahead.
No, I was scratching my head.
Okay. Your hand went up so fast, I was like, yeah. Go ahead.
I misunderstood what you meant by what is the author's point of view. Because that answer seems like it's the author's purpose. And so the author's point of view, I'm a little rusty, but coming like how he's speaking, how he's writing, or they're writing, correct?
No, so that's a good point. So we do often say author's point of view or purpose in younger grades, and in younger grades we say point of view is first person, second person, third person omniscient, right? Here we're actually asking what is the author's opinion? What is the author trying to make us believe? Okay? And if you would have kept reading this article down the road, what we find is we get the author's point of view really clearly in the last paragraph. And it says, wherever you stand on the various issues raised, there's no doubt that electronic devices are here to stay. That's a very strong opinion statement, right? And he says, how we choose to use these devices, whether we choose to have them work for us, against us, is up to us. So I would push our students to come to the idea that the author wants us to be okay with technology, but to use it appropriately. And so through the process of what we're doing in class, we're actually going into, number one, I want our readers to become independent. our scholars have to become independent readers. They have to be thinking along these lines along themselves. The conversation, and we just did a very little bit of habits of discussion. But normally our habits of discussion, I put in my lesson plan 5 to 10 minutes to have a deep conversation about the curriculum or about the article. And the idea is that we're having a deeper discussion about it so that when they have to do this independently, on their own down the road, that they're thinking at that deeper level. So the conversation that we have as a class is leading to the thinking that we're having. Okay? So this is what the closed reading process looks like for ELA. There are different variations of this at each grade level. In kindergarten, first and second grade, this is really based on read aloud. A lot of this is happening through the read aloud process where our teachers stop and ask questions that follow these genre-based thinking. As we get into our testing grades, third grade and up, we start the year by doing this as a read aloud and modeling. But as the year goes on, we push our students to take over ownership of it. And by the end of this school year, the goal is that our students are having these discussions, these rich discussions about the text that they're reading with independent or with very little guidance. So you'll see things like literature circles in our class. You'll see things like debates. One of my class's favorite things to do is we have a debate at the end. I'll give a synthesis question. Do you believe, based on what you read, that technology is overused by teenagers? Yes or no? And they'll pick a side. And then they have to use evidence from the text to say why, yes or no. So that conversation, and they can pick either side they want. Here's a secret. I make them write evidence for both sides. So they can look at the other person's argument.
Yeah.
And sometimes they change their mind, and sometimes they don't. But we always have to come back to the text. Because whenever they're answering questions about text, they have to be able to do it in a way that allows them to think about the text in a deeper way and answer those genre-based questions. Right. So, as promised, that was our quick example. I have 5 minutes left to do Q&A. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah.
Well, my grandson,
Okay.
he can be a critical thinker. However, he has issues with, what's the word I'm trying to find when you're trying to follow?
Multiple step.
Sequence?
Sequence?
No, not comprehension.
Multiple step.
Comprehension. So when he reads,
Mhm.
when he get ready to retell the story.
Yep.
He'll start from the end, to the middle, go back to the beginning.
Yep.
Eventually, he'll tell you everything that happened.
Right.
But sequentially,
Yeah.
he's having issues. So what is the best way to prepare him moving forward? To
Great
what you're talking about when he gets in the third grade, because I don't want him to fall behind.
Yeah.
And we want to work on it now.
So what I would do, and you're talking about literature. So whenever you're talking about a story, you're talking about literature. So you always want to come back to the genre-based thinking guides. For literature, the first 4 questions are doing exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Who are the characters? What is the problem? What is the climax? And then what is the solution?
Okay.
If he can answer those 4 questions and in order,
Okay.
he'll get a lot closer to what he wants.
Okay.
One way to think about these are, you always start with who are the characters, but when we say what is the problem, we ask, what does the main character want? Okay, the climax is the turning point. Does the character get what they want or not? And then the solution is, okay, did they get what they want or not? And then what happened because of that? Okay?
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Great question. Other questions?
I have a question, Ms.
Sure.
Jennifer. So
Yes.
is this structure preparing the kids to be able to read?
So remember, as I discussed how we went through the course of the year, we started the year with the read aloud, and then we went back over the text multiple times. That's called a hot read, right? Because we're reading the same text over and over and over again. Where we are now in this time of year, hopefully we're making the shift to making this a cold read first. So they're reading this independently, much the same way you did. They saw this article for the first time, and they had to read and do this. Now during the week, we go through, they read it to themselves first. Then they get to work with a partner to check their ideas, and then I make sure that they're on the right track. But I don't hold their hand through the process anymore. At the beginning of the year, I hold their hand through the process because it's modeling and learning how to do it. But by the end of the year, we release that to them, and they do it on their own. I think I have 2 minutes.
You have 2 minutes, tell you.
Last question. Couple questions, yeah. Uh-huh.
When you are reading at night, do you recommend that same story over and over? Because you got so excited about this book here, you got all these books.
Yeah. So I would say the answer to that question is it depends. Like in first grade, what we want is kids to want to read. I have a second grader myself and a kindergartner right now. And I can tell you my kindergartner wants to read the same book over and over and over and over and over and over. And the reason he wants to read the same book over and over and over and over again is because he actually can read it. He's memorized it. He doesn't have to ask for help. Well, that's a great place to start. My second grader, she has literally reads 17 books a week. They're all short, but she constantly asks mommy and daddy and grandma, can I have another book? And she reads every night before she goes to bed. Now, I'm pretty lucky. She decided that she loves to read, and we've done a lot to try to instill that, but it's because we don't force a decision one way or another. She read the same book over and over again when she was younger. As she got older, she started to branch out and wants to read more and more. So at home, when you're doing your reading, let your student guide that for now. There will be a point in time where they can't guide that anymore, where we give assigned reading and you have to do these things, but for now, in K1 and 2 in particular, let your students make those decisions. Let your scholar make those. Yes, exactly. And it's about, this is the book I love, right? So, yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to take more questions from you, but I have a time is up goodbye sign.
That's Vanessa for you. She here and she ain't even here. Vanessa be talking at me.
Fill out the question forms on your way out, and I will get back to home. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Yes, we are.
So that's actually transition time, right? But that really means just stay in your seat. I'm going to pull out the math workshop slide.
How to do? Yes.
I will get one. Let me see if I can get my hand on it.
No, that's not public.
If not, I can
Just send it to me.
let me grab a format. Are you
presenting today? Huh? You presenting?
You're going to want this out to follow along with the presentation. I've also included a one-pager, just in case you wanted to read a little bit more about Common Core Math at Fortune School. And this is a story problem checklist. This is what our teachers are trained to use in the classroom, and you'll actually get to see how the teachers use this in the classroom. So there's 3 pieces of paper. My name is Melissa Havenar, and currently I am the master teacher. I focus mainly on middle school, but I've also taught everywhere from preschool all the way up to college. I supported in math and science primarily, but I've also taught ELA and all that, ELA and history. I hope I dance. I wanted to represent that. Starting July 1st, something I will know me as Ethan Williams co-principal, and I'll be in charge of academics, while Mr. Atkins will be in charge of culture and operations at our office. It is a big job being a leader, and so we wanted to make sure that there are some dedicated to making sure that our students are prepared to move on to the STEAM high school, and I am going to do that first. So this is our agenda. Welcome and training with questions, sample problems, common core math standards, research-based strategies, which is the math story problems, and then a little bit about math with fortune. So framing the question, you may have seen me before, met me before at the Parent Academies. I did workshops with Parent Academies on Common Core Math. And something that always lingered at the end was, well, how can I really help my child do math at home? And really, that is the question that we all need to be asking. How do we do math at home? We don't just learn it, we actually actively participate in it. And so these are some of the ways that you can help at home. The main thing is really communicate with your teachers. See what methods and strategies they're doing at home or at school so that you can bring it home at the dinner table or their student desks at home and you can reinforce it. So I like just jumping straight in. There are sample problems that are being passed out, so I did this on purpose. I did not want anybody to be moving ahead and doing the math problems. Everybody gets the same amount of time. And while those sample problems are being distributed, I want to tell you about some of the items that are provided for you. So I made a really quick and easy whiteboard out of a plastic sleeve. And inside there is a wax pencil. So if you need space to do work, to do a math, you can write on it, and actually erases if you are on a hard surface. You actually erase it. So this is something that you can make at home. I think I'll cost it out to make this probably like 50 cents. And then I included counters. So these you get to go home with today, just so you have something to work with for your students. And if necessary, because there is going to be a higher level math problem there, I have fraction tiles to do that. You just need to Ooh, really
Okay.
There are, I'm going to put 7 minutes on the clock. And I want you to go ahead and try to do all 4 of the math problems in 3 different ways. You can do it in 3 different ways. Talk to your neighbor. I like just jumping straight in. Not single-sided. Okay, just kidding. Do the 2 that are in front of you. Different ones. So there's a gray, you didn't go double-sided.
Melissa,
Sorry.
did you want another kind?
Yeah. So if they wanted to see it.
So some of them have one side and some of them have two.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all right. There's still 7 minutes on there. There's a first grade, a third grade, and a seventh grade. Yeah, they're reading out the second.
You don't have this.
So actually, I have the. Yeah, they did it fast enough. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Another two. Guys think you're gonna do math on Saturday morning?
I'm sorry.
Three ways to show
Oh,
Did you want these in the sleeve?
No.
Oh,
not necessarily. So it's tricky.
yeah, I'm about to go back to the first grade.
Yeah, I'm scared.
Makes sense. So if you're going.
That's okay.
Pineapples and apples, what would you have? And you only had $10 to spend.
That's good.
And less than 2 minutes.
Got it. No, I got it. Yeah, that's right. And it's one of the things. I love the really the way that we learned it, a finite amount of math. Because if we don't get to the foundation, that foundational knowledge, if you don't have, like, I can memorize it in the back of my hand. I can do, any arithmetic I can do pretty quick. Once I got it this way, it's where my head started this way. Because I didn't have the foundational background. So the back on it, I didn't. That's where this, that's why we do that way. That's why we actually start. Right, this is right now. I like anything that was arithmetic based. I was great at math. I thought I was the math superstar. And I got to geometry. And then you went from there back to algebra.
Because she needs to.
To go back
Can
and
you
get
recap
some quick
once?
ones.
Can you recap once? Alright, so just like Mr. Pepper, I, in no way do I want to treat you guys like the scholars, but it is a quick and common way to get everybody's attention. So thank you for quickly giving me your attention. So quick check-in, thumbs up if you thought that was really easy, thumbs to the side where if you thought you had to, really take your time to slow down, and thumbs down if you thought like this is coming from math is crazy. Go ahead and show me. Right. Yeah. So the beauty of the way that Common Core math is framed is that we really want students and teachers to make sense of the problems first. What is the most intuitive way to solve the problem? That's our starting point, right? So what are the Common Core state standards? There's specific grade and learning objectives, but there's also math practices. So there's two different types of Common Core state standards. There's math practices. So it's how do you think about the problem? How do you attack the problem? How do you solve the problem? It's a way of thinking, right? We're really taking that catchphrase of we're going to turn our students into critical thinkers. We're actually doing it in math. We're applying it in math. So just a quick overview. This is what math used to look like for, I would say, a majority of all of us in this room. When we were going to school, it was every year we learned big, huge topics every single year. Under Common Core, we learned only a portion of what math, the concept of math is. So like in kindergarten, by the end of kindergarten, our students should know how to count to 100. Because we're not going to do that in first grade, right? And just like for fifth graders, by the end of fifth grade, they should be able to know and understand numbers, operations, and fractions. By the end of fifth grade, that has to happen. Otherwise, in fifth grade, they will struggle. We're not going to go over that. So it all builds up. It all builds up. And I'm going to go over the math problems. I'm going to keep you guys with that for just a little bit. How are you teaching my scholars math? Like I said, we start off with make sense of the math first. We establish foundational knowledge, which is why we say do what makes sense to you first. Then, this is where the teacher and the parents come in. We share and show different ways to solve the problem. Because there are different ways to solve the problem. Each person has a different mindset coming in, and so we want everybody to share those different mindsets. And then develop conceptual knowledge. So let's go deeper into the concepts and explore the different ways and how they all connect. So share and show different methods. Some of you guys were asking questions about method 1, method 2, and method 3. And these are our methods. So we start with the manipulative, things that you can touch. And then we go into the pictures. And then I would say, I think most of us, I saw went straight to the equation. That's the algorithm. That's really in Common Core math, that's really the last place. We go to. Right. Yeah, we want them to.
That's why.
Just like Mr. Vermello was saying, we want students to experience math. We want them to do math, learn by doing. So I'm going to show you a quick video of what that looks like in the classroom. So students were given 4 minutes to work on a problem. the teacher asked, what did you choose to use? The student responded, I chose to do an array, which is a function.
Why? Because there is eight shells.
So as the scholar is writing, the teacher is asking and probing questions.
And then after you made your 8 rows, then I put 7 tiles, 7 boxes, whatever. 7 boxes in the color because the first thing that I did was this, and then I just counted how many blocks I put up here to make 50. How did you know you stopped at 56? Because it said that she has 56 up here. So while she's doing her array, I'm going to allow Caleb to go up and show his division. So on the next to her, while she's finishing her array, it takes a little bit to do an array, Caleb's going to show us his division. 56 by 8, because he has 8 steps and he has to she has 8 plus. I mean, 56 and what do we want to know? What's the question again? What do we want to know? Okay, so that's the question. Can you turn it into a statement for me? We need to find out. Correct. Go ahead and finish your division for me, please. Hopefully Janelle's array doesn't cross over into your division. Nice job. So that's 7. That's 8.
So you kind of get the gist, right? You notice that the teacher is not doing what? What is the teacher not doing? She's not telling them what to do. She's not telling them that they're right or wrong. She poses the questions. And that's what Common Core Math is about. The other part of what Common Core Math is about is the students justifying their answers. So not only do they say there are 8 shelves, they have to say because, according to the question, or because. So that's the really big part of the really big difference between how we all learn math and how our scholars are learning math now. It's not just memorization, although that is still key, but our students need to know how to communicate with each other. So, how am I doing on time?
You're fine. You're good.
I'm good? Okay, so I want to go into the sample problems. And actually, I want to have you guys work with the people next to you, with the partner next to you. How would you have your partner explain their process by asking the questions on your story problem checklist? So you saw how the teacher was doing it in the classroom. How would you do it with your students at home? Well, it would take about 3 minutes for one problem.
It's a single sheet. Yeah, that's what you ask your partner.
Oh, no, no,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting. Yeah, the camera. I keep watching the camera.
As long as you don't stick in front of it, we're
I'm
okay.
gonna get you steady. I'm limping up.
Like, you're okay.
Don't do all that.
You're all right.
Plans for this is over.
And he would do it. We get to the next 3 months.
No rhythm.
Alright. So, the process does need some getting used to, because I think our initial inclination is to come in and help and tell students what to do, which is why our teachers go through weekly professional development. We call it intellectual prep and practice. Every week they're practicing those questioning skills. So I want to go in. I promised you I'd show you the actual answers. I'll do the grade 1 and the grade 5, because I think grade 1 you guys will see the processes, and then grade 5 I heard was kind of like the crazy one. Okay, so now we start with reading, which is why literacy is so important. That's why we started off with ELA. Can I have someone please read the question for the grade 1 problem? Thank you.
Pat has 9 peaches. Linda has 4 peaches. How many more peaches does Pat have than Linda?
So, parents, if you don't have, or if you get lost, if you don't have these counters at home, you could use beans, paper clips, hairpins, really creative beads, things like that. So, Pat,
Like that left.
No, but when you get it right, you get to eat it. You got a built-in reward.
so this is Pat. This is Linda. So the question is, what again? Can I get somebody to read that aloud one more time? What's the question? What's the call of the question?
How many more peaches does Pat have than Linda?
Okay, so this is Pat, this is Linda. We know that Pat has more. So we could, using our concrete, our manipulatives, just take away things that Pat. And so Pat has how many left? 5. Right, really easy. And that's easy for a first grader or even a kindergartner to do because they know how to match things up. They start learning how to match things up and take things away. And so when you do that type of problem, it's really easy to see who's manipulative. Method 2 takes the manipulative away and turns them into drawings. So I did the same concept except I drew out my counters. And instead of taking away or erasing, because I wanted to see my work, I would just cross them out and circle what I had left. Still get the same answer, different method, both are correct. The last method, which I noticed folks went to as their #1 method, was either of 2 ways. Either of 2 ways. It was either a 9 minus 4 equals 5, right? Really easy algorithm. Or it could be 4 plus question mark equals half. Because they are reciprocal. They are complementary operations. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to go really fast through the 5th grade one. Oh no, 7th grade. Was it 7th grade?
No.
5th? We need 7th to stay after class.
Yes.
So I'll read out loud really fast. Mr. Jones will cut 6 identical loaves of bread into pieces that are 1/4 loaf each. After he cuts the 6 loaves, how many pieces will Mr. Jones have? So I'm running out of time. But I would have grabbed the fraction tiles, and I would have had 1 whole one, and divide it into 4. And I would do that 6 times to see how many forks I have. So in picture form, it would be this. Okay, 6 loaves of bread. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know if you can really see it, but I divided them into fourths. So 24 pieces of bread when I count all the pieces. And then method 3, our algorithm. 6 divided by 1/4, which are 1/4 pieces, and I got the same answer, 24. All right, so I'm getting the hook. One last thing. So how is Fortune math different? We want to see our students' work, no matter how right or how wrong it is, because we want to know how we can help them, and we want our students to know how they can help themselves. Thank you.
No countouts, Melissa?
Oh, no, more countouts.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much